Okay, so back to this. I moved out the first time, and of course the shit wasn't gonna work out because they treated me the same way she did. Duh. That's the kind of the nature of unhealed shit because you don't know you have the shit until too late. And so yeah, um, everything was fine so long as I was, benefiting them. But as soon as I actually wanted to be more independent and do shit on my own and like do shit for me, then it really became a problem because then it's like, oh, are you planning to leave or whatever the case is? Because now you're like wanting to be independent, and I was just like, no, you got everything that you need. I just want to get my own shit. And it's funny because after I moved, they tried to get me to like go live with my aunt so that I could do go work in a place that was like opening in Universal. It was like the new Harry Potter ride at that time. Um, and they wanted me to go there so that I could get a job there and then I could learn to drive and all of that. And they was gonna like do the plane ticket thing, and it was just like after I already fucking moved away, now everybody wants to pull strings to help me. So um, I talked to her about it for days, and then all of a sudden she included my sister in that, and I was like, I need to be away from you guys because I don't love you when I'm in the house with you. I hate you, and when I'm away from you, I can love you. Now, if that isn't a fucking sign, so yeah, I was just like, yeah, no, no, I'm not gonna be forced back into living with family again. Lo and behold, obviously that didn't turn out that well. She came and rescued me, and that cost a lot of money. So that's a problem. I offered to fucking pay for the gas and all of that shit, but she keeps telling me no to paying her back. But now, like, but she's had the other two pay rent before. Well, it's way more expensive now than it was then. But still, she keeps telling me no to like trying to pay her back for stuff. And like acting like it's like this whole like little thing. Oh no, I'm your mother. I'm supposed to do this, but I owe you back for life. So yeah, whatever. I was just like, fine. But with her continuously like fussing, harassing, being mad, saying that her children are useless because they don't clean up after themselves and all of that shit. And I was like, you never taught anybody to clean up after yourself. And all of that shit. And it's funny because I went off about that like last year, I think. But yeah. So all of that, being harassed, it seemed like she kept trying to block me from having money. So again, I ended up in another fucking relationship not that long after that one because I couldn't take her shit anymore. And I was trying really hard to find a job by my damn self. No help, no transportation, no more money because at this point I had paid to renovate the room that I was in. All by myself too. I painted it, put the carpet in, all of that. And so uh was dating again. It wasn't necessarily too early for me to be dating again, but it was too early for me to be moving in with somebody that I was dating for sure. But I let them convince me out of actually going for an apartment that was in a bad neighborhood, which it turned out later that I had met a lot of people that walked from that apartment on the regular, and I didn't hear anything bad about it. And so yeah, but it was one of those things where I couldn't just say no because that's not what I did. And I felt bad for everybody in the situation because they had a friend that needed to move out because they also had a shitty situation, and all of us were lacking any kind of control in our lives, so we just all went and got an apartment together, which was a fucking nightmare. And then I Ubered back to her house. Now, mind you, I didn't get any help moving out either, except for like one trip. And so everything I left behind was fair game. So all my siblings took whatever was left behind, including my guitar. So that's why I stopped playing guitar permanently. Um, but um, and that was my new guitar because I had gotten a guitar for Christmas, and it was an electric because that's what I was into and that's what I was trying to learn by myself with no help, no lessons, no book. Just straight up online stuff. And I wouldn't get any help from family trying to move because she didn't want me to move out anyway. So And so I only got one trip to get everything that I could at that point. But I ended up Ubering back to visit a friend that had just like come to stay. It was like our family friend from the college that had moved in with us for a little while. And I was trying to talk to him about some problems that I was having in this new relationship or whatever, and like get some input because, you know, I was about ready to call it quits and all of that shit. But she kept interrupting me and stopping me from talking to him, saying, "Stop focusing on the negative. Nobody wants to hear that. You know, da da da." Because you can't complain to her about anything because she's always had it worse. I have 4 kids and I had to take care of them all by myself. She really made it seem like my Nana wasn't there the whole time that we were toddlers. But when me and my sister ended up having kids, like she acted like she didn't have any help whatsoever and wouldn't help either of us really in the beginning. Well, according to my sister, she wouldn't help her. And then for me, I'll explain that later. So, yeah. Um she was definitely not the grandmother that we grew up with. And so she would just talk about how, you know, if you had any kind of problems or whatever, I had it worse. You know, I did this, I did that, I had to do this by myself. Hence why I never learned to drive, because she was always just like, I paid for the lessons myself. Nobody taught me how to drive. I had to go and pay for them. And I was like, I can't afford it. My fucking rent is more than what my paycheck is. And even split 3 ways, I wasn't saving up much. It was for the fucking utilities. And there would come times where everybody else was short and I had to make up for it. And, you know, if I ever said anything like that, then that would be a problem. And I actually kind of wanted to call her out while she was interrupting me, because this friend that had moved in with us at, like, from the college was gay. And, you know, loud and proud. And so when I had moved back with her, like, I wasn't actually interested in really a relationship at the time that I had moved back in here with her. It really just started out as, you know, physical. And so she started like condemning me with, you know, religious stuff. Oh, well, you know, some religious bullshit. And I was like, I don't believe in that. And she's like, oh, well, all, you know, just that's not going to protect your heart. And I was like, I don't have one. According to her, anyway. But yeah, she tried to condemn me with that shit and I wasn't having it and all that jazz, and because she was still doing religious shit at this time. And so then she would also start like bad mouthing this friend that had moved in with us or whatever, like even when he had moved in with us and even after he was gone, still condemning him for being gay out loud. And I was just like, you care about this person. Like, she treated him better than she treated me. It was like he was the child that she never had. And that was frustrating to see right in front of your face, but I was like, fuck it. Her attention isn't on me now. And so, yeah, she was still condemning him behind the scenes about being gay. Like, I don't know what's going to happen to him because, you know, he's not going to get into heaven, all of that shit. And, you know, she'll deny it because she talks shit behind people's backs and all of that shit all the time. Nobody calls her out on it or anything. So, whatever. So, yeah, I ended up in another shitty situation because I had to try to get away from her, and I got convinced out of doing the shit all by my damn self. Because, you know, that's just how the fucking shit goes. And it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And I think it's actually funny too, because she was talking about like saving my cousin who was in a similar situation with her own mom where she was taking care of her younger siblings, and she was talking about, oh, I think I should take her for a little while. And my aunt was actually thinking the same thing about me. So we were both kind of like in a parallel fucking situation, and my aunt was like thinking that she would take me away for a little while so I could get away from that family, and my mom was thinking she could take my cousin away so she could get away from her family. The difference is like my cousin was part of more of a rich family, so they like almost got everything that they wanted as far as I could tell from the perspective that I had, because you know they had all the new gadgets and all of that stuff and whatnot. So I never really saw her struggle because I never really got to see her too much after we had moved. So that was the end of that. And so, yeah, back into another freaking shitty relationship. And we'll go from there.